Okay, so let's see. Brief lesson. So the idea is here. When you plane the board, you start at the very end with pressure on the front of the plane. As you get to the center of the board, you transfer that pressure to your back hand and your front hand evenly. And as you come out of the front of the board, you put your pressure on your hand on the back of the plane. I even use my elbow to press on the back of this one, but this one is longer than yours. So just to show you how this goes, you start pressure down here. As you move, your pressure changes to the center, and as you come out, you basically just put pressure on the back, like that. What you do is you adjust it so it takes a very light pass, and you just look at from the end of it like that, and you turn the knob until you see the blade coming out. Just take very light cuts. You can set it a little coarse first so you can see it. Then you just use the lateral adjustment on it to make sure that the blade is parallel with the bottom of the plane. This way, if you hold the plane straight without rocking it, you will make a square cut. Just takes a little bit here. Okay, so again, you sight it until you adjust it until you see that it's parallel with across the bottom of the plane. Go back a little bit just so it takes a light cut. You can adjust that as you go, depending on how it's cutting. You may want to make a heavier cut in the beginning to make it faster. All right, so here we go. So again, pressure down, change the pressure, and transfer the pressure to the back. Taking out very little, so we just set it a little coarser. Just to make it faster. And again, pressure down. You see how it skips because it's riding over the high areas and taking those first. Right now it's taking a full shaving, so the board should be pretty straight. It's not too bad. You can sight it by eye and make little adjustments as you need it. Like you can just start in the middle. You just want to take off the middle. I do that so when you put the boards together, the ends touch automatically and needs very little clamping pressure. That's the hardest spot to keep tight. And in the middle you can put plenty of pressure so the board then clamps without no gaps. So we see if it's square. It's a little bit off, so it needs to be taken more on the right side. So we give it a couple more passes. pretty good for now, just to show you how it's done. So a lot of people like to put two boards together and do it at the same time. I was never a fan of that. That has other issues because supposedly then you flip the board and cancels the errors, but you may want to keep two faces a certain way and not flip them over. So I like to do one board at a time. Always done it that way. You take one. Pay attention to the grain on the board, so when you're planing, so the grain is coming up this way. So when you're planing, you basically run your with the grain. If you go across the grain, then you get a very rough cut, and the plane will grab and chatter, and it just give you a pretty rough edge. So again. Okay, see? Off in the opposite direction because I never changed the cutter from that one. So you skipped there. It's because I wasn't holding it perfectly flat when he starts. Try them, see how they fit. Okay, this was basically the first try, and I'll just stick the camera out and show you the result. As you can see where the two boards are, it's a perfect joint all the way down. There are no gaps whatsoever. So again, the idea is, this is very simple. Just takes a little bit of practice. The hardest thing with such a big plane is to prevent it from rocking. It's a little bit of a balancing act. These planes happen to be very easy to get used to. And again, that is the thing not to do. When you start, notice I never use that knob. I rather use my hand as a guide, my fingers, and I put pressure downwards with my thumb. As you get to the middle, you change pressure to here. I actually rest my elbow on it, and then as you come out, no pressure in the front whatsoever, and you basically have the pressure in the back. Because what happens is if you keep on using it like this, as you come out, you dig in on this area. And the same thing in the beginning. If you put pressure downwards, it either skips like you did before, or you start taking more at the ends and the board becomes bowed. So the idea is to start slow, make sure it's resting there, pressure downward, change the pressure as you go now to the back, and as you come out, no pressure in the front, just the back. One more time. And there you go. And you should get a perfect feel from that. The important part too is to have where to hold the board vertically like this. If you don't have that, then it becomes a little bit harder. You can do it on the flat, but when you do it on the flat like the shipwrights do, because they use 20-foot boards and longer, you need to, again, set up a wide table, a couple different boards, so when you're using it on the side, the board is up in the middle of the cutter somewhere. So you got a couple stacked boards, that's how they do it. And you run the plane that way. But then it's kind of hard to prevent the plane from rocking this way also. So it's easier to do it this way. I'm sure you can improvise something. Good luck.